Okay, guys, I've been meaning to get this dream out. My husband had this dream. It's got a lot of symbolism in it, so bear with me. I kind of am scatterbrained to begin with, so it's like when you go down a rabbit hole, right? With dreams, it's like, let's say it's a shoe. That shoe can have so many different meanings, even though it's just one shoe. The color, the position, whether it's on or off, whether it's dirty or clean, like there can be so much packed in just to one object or one vision. So this dream has a lot going on in it. It has a lot of symbolism, so bear with me. But this dream is a dream of encouragement. I was so excited when I found out what this dream was. It's gonna blow your mind at the end of it. The end of this dream is crazy. Like, you cannot make this stuff up. And I love when God speaks through dreams, because when he speaks through dreams, what I like about how he uses me and my husband is my husband will have a dream and I always interpret his dreams for him and for the Lord. They're messages from the Lord. Now, why God does this, why God speaks to us in a mystery or in a dream, in a riddle. The Bible talks about God speaking in riddles or proverbs or wise sayings, is because God, when he speaks to us in this symbolic way, with symbolism, with signs and symbols and meanings, it's so that we know that it's from God. We know that it's not something that you could make up on your own, because it's too deep. So you wouldn't be able to come up with this on your own. So it helps us, keep us from rationalizing our dreams and understanding that the dream came from the Lord, and that it is the Lord speaking, and not like a weird dream that came out of your own imagination or subconscious mind, but it is a dream from the Lord. So I'm gonna get into the dream. This was the dream. Me, my husband, Raphael, and his brother were inside a basketball gym. Now, a basketball gym represents competition, and it suggests the need to pay close attention. Okay, so the Lord is saying pay close attention and highlighting the theme of competition between two opposing teams. Inside this gym, there was a preacher who started preaching to the crowd. A young lady and her mother walks by the preacher, and he taps the girl and tells her to come over. The young lady looked to her mom excitedly to get permission, and her mom gave her the okay, and she was happy to be called on to come forward to the man of God. Now, I believe this part represents evangelism and the harvest being ripe. So the girl went to the preacher, and he started writing in hieroglyphs on a whiteboard. My husband was given the understanding that the preacher was writing his name, which is Raphael, on the board, even though the preacher wrote using hieroglyphics and what looked like a straight line or a stick and part of a heart. And what I believe this symbolizes is that God is restoring a pure language to his people. A few days before, or the day before this dream, there was a prophetic word from the Lord, and it said, the Lord said, cursive no more, script no more. Now, cursive has its origins in Roman and Greek culture, and they used it to make documents, legal scripts, religious scripts. And so I believe what the Lord is saying, that he is restoring. We also know that the English language is rooted in curses, and cursive is rooted in curses, right? So everything we speak is actually intentionally rooted in curses and speaks forth curses. And the Lord saying script no more, I believe is the Lord saying that there's documents, there are governmental documents that bind us legally, but it's not right. It's not, that God is going to overturn some legal documents in the favor of the people. Okay, that has kept us under a curse and under bondage for a long time. Now, the preacher started preaching out loud. He said, when we find Raphael, then you know it's here. It's time. It's the time. Now, my husband's name is Raphael, and Raphael means God has healed. And I also believe that Raphael, my husband in the dream, is also symbolizing the archangel Raphael. And this part of the dream is also emphasizing time. Okay, so my husband Raphael and his brother Jose look at each other. Raphael then says to Jose, I'm Raphael. Jose says, I know. And they start to giggle, and the preacher then comes over and wants to know who it was that was Raphael. But before the preacher could ask them anything, Jose stepped forward and said, I got this, but not in a bad way or harmful way. The preacher then asked, who is Raphael? Then Jose says, at the count of 3, we should know the time is here. Then he put up 3 fingers, and you could see his hands were glowing. Now, the glowing represents the glory of the Lord. And Jose, the name Jose means Jehovah has increased. So I believe here that his brother Jose represents Jehovah or Father God and his glory coming forth. And the countdown to his glory coming forth and beginning. So the preacher was confused, and then Jose says, but this is Raphael. Then we heard a TV being broken. We turned to see, and it was Michael Jordan, and he broke a TV with his golf club. The preacher said, it's that one time that Michael Jordan broke the TV. And my husband Raphael said, how are we here right now? Didn't this happen already a long time ago? And the preacher giggled and said, yes, it doesn't matter. We are here right now. So this part really confused me, but I began to search out Michael Jordan and golf clubs, Michael Jordan breaking TV with a golf club, and it led me to a 1984 commercial that's gonna blow your mind. I'm gonna show you it right now. And understand that Michael Jordan in this dream represents the Lord. Michael means gift from God or who is like God, and Jordan means flowing down. So the Lord is about to flow down the gifts of God. Check this out, okay? Understand that in the dream, Michael Jordan was breaking a television with his golf club. Watch this, guys.
Today we celebrate the first glorious anniversary of the information purification detectives. We have created for the first time in all history a garden of pure ideology where each worker may bloom, secure from the pests of getting contradictory thoughts. Purification of thoughts is more powerful a weapon than any fleet or army on earth. We are one people.
Pay attention right here.
One cause. Our enemies shall talk themselves to death, and we will bury them with their own confusion. We shall prevail.
On January 24th, Apple Computer will introduce Macintosh. And you'll see why 1984 won't be like 1984.
That is crazy. That is exactly what happened in the dream. Michael Jordan represents the Lord. And the woman in this commercial, this is a 1984 Apple commercial for Macintosh. I'm going to have to do a part 2 on this. But the woman in the dream also represents the justice of the Lord coming and wrecking the global elite. And that is exactly what the Lord is about to do. Check out part 2. This is part 2 of the fall of the Cabal. Now, I left off on part 1 showing you guys the 1984 Apple commercial. This is significant with what the whole message is behind the dream I gave in part 1. In the dream, in part 1, Michael Jordan, who symbolizes the Lord, because Michael means who is like God, or a gift from God, and Jordan means flowing down. Michael Jordan breaks a television with a golf club in his dream. Totally out of scene, like it's totally random, seemingly random part of this dream. So it confused me. This dream confused me so much that I honestly was not going to even try to interpret it. But I went to sleep, and when I woke up, I had some interpretation that the Lord immediately downloaded to me. So that is the only reason that I even attempted to interpret this dream, because dream interpretation is a lot of work. Now, I'm going to show the commercial again, the Apple commercial, at the end of this video, but I want to go over some things in the video. Now, in 1984 is when Michael Jordan's love for golf began, okay? In 1984, that's when his love for golf began. It was the same year he was drafted by the Chicago Bulls. So I was looking into Michael Jordan and golf and the year 1984. And I was Googling things like, Michael Jordan breaks television with golf club. And this 1984 Apple's commercial popped up. And when I watched it, I was in shock, because it's exactly what Michael Jordan did in the dream. This Apple commercial. This Apple commercial is based upon the movie 1984. If you've never watched 1984, it is a black and white movie based on a dictator called Big Brother. And everyone has to be under the control of Big Brother. Big Brother watches everyone. No one's allowed to do anything outside of what Big Brother tells them to do. The two main characters end up falling in love, but they try to find ways to connect with each other, but they have to sneak around. They eventually get caught and go to a dungeon where they're tortured with their most greatest fears, and they're brainwashed into not loving each other, and they go back to Big Brother land zombified. So it's kind of a gloomy ending and a gloomy story, movie to begin with. But the whole theme of this Apple commercial is based on 1984. And the Apple at the time was struggling. The big guy in the tech world was IBM at the time. Okay, IBM was the big, he was on the throne. IBM was on the throne of technology at the time. So Apple's strategy was to release this really bizarre commercial for the Macintosh in the 1984 18th Super Bowl. So they released this commercial to dethrone IBM. Now, if you look into IBM and you look into Apple, currently now they are owned by the same people. They're owned by BlackRock, and they're owned by Vanguard. Their investors are Vanguard Group, BlackRock, State Street. So in reality, Apple is trying to say that IBM is like Big Brother. IBM is crooked. They're crooks. They're trying to control and be, lead the world dictatorship. something to that effect, right? But in reality, IBM, Apple, and Microsoft, they're all in bed together. And Microsoft and IBM have ties to Bill Gates. So who is God addressing in this dream? He's addressing the globalist. He's addressing the globalist. And he is saying that he is going to wreck the plans of the globalist. And it says, and the tagline is that we will see why in 1984 it will not be like 1984. And so what the Lord is saying that, and this was on January 24th, 1984. So what God is saying, in 2024, it will not be like 1984. Why? Because God is about to step in. God is about to step in. And he's going to push back these globalists. And I want to, the Lord led me to the number 14. In the commercial, you'll see the number 14 is there. The first thing you see is the number 14. And this is what the number 14 represents. It represents deliverance and salvation. And the Lord led me to Numbers 14, verses 14 through 16, which confirms the interpretation I'm giving that the Lord gave me for this dream. And it says this, and they will tell the inhabitants of this land about it. They have already heard that you, O Lord, have been seen face to face, that your cloud stays over them, and that you go before them in a pillar of cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night. If you put these people to death all at once, the nations who have heard this report about you will say, the Lord was not able to bring these people into the land he promised them on an oath. So he slaughtered them in the desert. Now may the Lord's strength be displayed, just as you have declared. The Lord is slow to anger, abounding in love, and forgiving sin and rebellion. Yet he does not leave the guilty unpunished. He punishes the children for the sins of the fathers to the third and fourth generation. Let me be clear. We are in the end times. There is no doubt about that. But what I am saying and what the Lord is saying is that justice will be served before great tribulation and persecution begins. There will be justice served, and God will deliver us into the promised land as he promised us on an oath. And there will be a revival in the land, and the glory of the Lord will be seen upon his people, and it will draw all men near to him. And this is where we are at. The Lord said in the dream, 3, 2, 1, the glory of the Lord is to be displayed. When we see healing come to the land, healing is about to come to the land. Raphael come to the land. Now the archangel Raphael defeated Asmodeus. So God is also telling us through this dream that the prince or king Asmodeus, who is one of the 7 princes of hell, he is the king of lust, the demon of lust, and he is the one that has a stronghold over America and over many of the nations, but especially America. And he is also the one who led Sodom and Gomorrah into destruction. So God is releasing Archangel Raphael to destroy again, to conquer Asmodeus and bring him down from his throne, and so that restoration and the promised land can come into manifestation.